Are you guys hearing me all right? Are you ready for the announcement of Project Caesar? It's only 23 minutes from now. Glad to see you all here on the live stream, guys. He's real. Yes, guys, this is not pre-recorded. Thanks for following, Mokov. Okay. Obviously, I have no idea what Project Caesar is, guys. So I'll be as surprised as all of you guys are, of course. Give me your ideas in the chat. How do you think this game is gonna be called? Is it Imperator Rome 2? Maybe it is March of the Eagles 2, March of the Eagles 4, Imperator Universalis, maybe just Europa Universalis without any number. What do you think, guys? Just U5 or do U4 DLC? That would be a surprise, right? It's obviously World War 3. Can I turn on music? They're playing some music. Just let me know if it's too loud. Oh boy, I'm super excited. Just look, when you take a look at the tweets, like on X that Europa Universalis channel shared. Let me find it. Was it here? Maybe it wasn't here because they said that's gonna be a big announcement. Not just announce the game, that's gonna be a show. I saw a message somewhere that it's gonna be a show. John Universalis, yes. John Paradox game. The John Paradox. Paradox. A Paradox, you say Paradox channel? Maybe it was Paradox channel, let's see. La 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 la. That's not Project Caesar. No, it's not on Paradox channel, unless they replied somewhere. Ah, yes. Paradox Interactive and Paradox Tinta will tomorrow at 18 CEST proudly unveil their next grand strategy game, Project Caesar, in a massive showcase. And how do you guys enjoy that graphic? It's lovely, right? Look at these details here. I don't think this is AI generated, they actually did hire someone to create this. And that's the John Paradox himself. American Universalis XXL. Surely. That's gonna be the name. I have 9,000 hours in EU4 and I'm ready for double the number in Project Caesar. How big are we talking? I don't know. Ask John Paradox. I don't know, guys. I have as little knowledge as you do. It's really good, right? And I don't know if you've seen, but they are revealing that graphic day by day. So if you go back to Europa Universalis channel, look, they just started with this, right? The background. Then they added a few boys here. Then they added a few boys on the other side with this little pope. What's the difference between these two? Ah, they added more boys here in the background. This is Inca, right? Or an Aztec guy. Then they added this globe. And finally they added the John Paradox himself. I barely finished the tutorial. Do you think there will be a 3 mountains achievement in Project Caesar? Well, guys, one thing that I am allowed to tell you, and you've seen that on my social media, right? That I was in Sieges. It was over a month ago already. I can confirm that. I'm allowed to confirm that. And I did visit Paradox Tinto office over there. And that's all I can tell you. That's pretty much all I can tell you. But I did post pictures of it in my YouTube community. Look, if I go to posts, and that's me in Italy last week. Let's see. See? There's a proof. That's Paradox Tinto office. I was there. Unless I photoshopped it. Zlewikk, honestly, did you do EU5 MP with Ludi? No, because Ludi stole my key to the game. I couldn't play it. Has anyone made the March of the Eagles joke yet? No, surely not. No one. There's no proof. Let me actually move that chat here. Let's make it like that. Let's watch it a bit cleaner. Achievement of one culture, but based on the Tinto talks, I don't think one culture is anywhere close to be possible in the current state of the game. Be honest, guys, how many Tinto talks did you read? If you watched a video on a Tinto talks, it counts. More or less, how many of them did you read? I think I've read around 100 of them. Not all, because there are much more than 100. But I've read most of them. At least the main ones. I didn't really read the Tinto buildings. Tinto content also not that much. How was my trip to Italy? It was fucking amazing, guys. Let me show you that on the map, since we have 15 more minutes. Look, I live in Warsaw, right? So I took a road trip through Ostrava to Brno, to Vienna, to Graz. That's where we did sleep. Then we went through Treviso, I think that's here, right? Venice, Bologna, Florence, and we slept somewhere over here, in the vineyards, with it's not a hotel, just buildings where you can sleep. So the first day we did visit Livorno. Second day we went to Pisa. Then we went to San Gimignano and Siena on the same day. And then the final day we will also visit Lucca. Show us EU5 map? No problem. EU5 map Tinto talks. Oh no, I have a short on that. Let me show you a EU5 map. Maybe Reddit is gonna be actually easier. Full map. There you go. That's you. That's the map that we know so far about EU5. You see, it's our EU5. So did rain in Italy? Yeah, I freaking love it. Italy, it's my favorite country to go and visit as a tourist. Just, you know, we are getting back home in the beginning of May. So we initially planned to go to Florence. But when we heard from our friends, because we didn't go there alone, there's like 10 of our friends there as well, how many tourists there are in Florence, we just skipped it. Decided to go to Lucca instead. And that honestly was a great decision, because Lucca is freaking beautiful. I mean, guys, I don't know if you can meet me in real life. Like, actually yesterday, I was in Lidl, so in a mall, no, in a shop, with my daughter yesterday, and some guy just came by me and say, "Oh, I know you." It turned out it's a student from UK that is in Poland now. Mic issues? Do I have to change something? Let me know, guys. Is it too loud? Not loud enough? I'm happy to adjust it, but it should be the same setting I'm always using for the streams. Show strength on Sienna. No, the cap is great. I love my cats. I have more of them. Look. I've got the Bob the Builder hat. I've got the Fez heart from the, how it's called, from the Grandest Land when we played as Andalusia. I've got the Prussian hat, the Pickelhaube, that I purchased from the Emperor DLC release. And I've got my OG Kopak hat, that is too small. That one is annoying. The one that I'm having is really good. My heir's name is Róża, Rose. Well, technically, I moved away from Warsaw. I'm living in Russian, just outside of it, because it's goddamn cheaper. Just give me 1 second, I have to adjust something. Let's do it this, no, not this way, this way. Let's do this. Okay. I mean, I have, like, first of all, outside there is 12 degrees. And I have window opened. And even if it would be 50 degrees outside, I've got AC in my room. I'm prepared for that because I work all day from my room. Because I have a full-time job and it's remote. So it's a must-have to have AC. Why do I have a 2 minutes delay? Do I? Is it on YouTube or is it on Twitch? You're asking from YouTube. Let me see. It shouldn't be a big delay. Let's see if you can change it. No, I can't really change it. I think it's default setting. Yes, Iga Świątek is from Russian. Oh, what is this? Behind every system lies 1,000 forum threads. Yeah, that's actually true. For like every system that they announced, there was so many threads on the forum explaining it and discussing it with the community. Zlewikk, were you given the early access version? If I had an early access version, I would publish a video on that already, wouldn't I? 15-second delay? Okay, so that's... If you have a bigger delay than 15 seconds, make sure that you see this button here, just click on it. It's gonna be up to date. Grandest LAN announced. I would love to play Grandest LAN this year, but I'm having doubts that there will be the Grandest LAN this year. Want me to speak Polish? I'll tell you what, if you... What was that? That was EU4 Sand! Oh no, that's my son. Somebody just subscribed with Prime. Moonlander, thank you so much for subscription! See? Now he's subscribed, I can say something in Polish. Polska Góro! Let's go! So that's just good enough delay. How the price is gonna be? I don't think Paradox even knows that yet. The price. I don't think they're gonna. They're just gonna announce the name of the game and maybe explain a bit more for people that didn't listen to the Dev Dyers. That's my guess. But maybe they're gonna. I saw a lot of threads on Reddit, right, on different theories. Oh, maybe they're just gonna tell us the name. Or maybe they're gonna already allow us to wishlist or even pre-purchase the game. Or they're gonna release the game today, which is insane. I don't think they're gonna do that. How are you? I'm doing fine, thank you. And thanks for following Lesser of Two Weevils. I'm so ready, guys. I'm so freaking ready! Let's go! Zlewikk, would be awesome if they would full release today and it was an Oblivion remake. No, it's EU1 remake. Thanks for subscription with Prime. Thank you so much. Imagine if today's announcement is not about Project Caesar, but in fact EU2 remake. Like the same mechanics as in EU2, but with improved graphics. EU2 was the first EU game that I played. I was 8. I mean, if you're talking about marketing, look at the Oblivion remake, right? They just announced it like, what, a day or a few hours before release. And they just released it. And it seems to be an absolute success. Have you played EU2? Yes, that was the first Paradox game that I've played. Risk 2. Activision Blizzard. Yes, they were acquired. A new board game? I mean, if If only the EU board game was in Polish, I would buy it. So I could play with friends. What about EU3? Here's a funny thing, because my current channel was created in 2013, but I'm doing videos since 2016. But I had a channel before with millions of views. Millions of views. But it was taken down. And one of the big videos that I had on that previous channel was an EU3 video. On cheats, because I was freaking young. And yeah, I cheated with console commands on that video. But it was just like showing how big my borders were at the end of the game. That's it. The video didn't have anything besides that. I think just music was added. And that channel was taken down because of copyright strikes. That's how it worked back then. 3 copyright strikes and the channel was gone. The -1 stability committee event will still exist. We'll see. Yeah, we can we can look at the map again, right? That's how it looks like. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that. I think it's an old map when it was posted. That's 4 months ago, so you know there's so many feedback in the iOS in the meantime. I guess it changed since then. But that's the general map. Victoria 4. I mean, looking at some of the mechanics of Project Caesar, it might be a Victoria 3 that we never got. First country outplay in EU5? I think that would be... I mean, look at that. I don't have to answer that. Poland! That's what you guys want me to play as well. But obviously, Poland is a no-brainer, right? If I would like to play this game at one point. But besides that, I would like to try for sure the Ottomans, Eastern Roman Empire, Pope, Florence, Ashikaga for countries outside of Europe, and Ethiopia. I think that this is top 5, top 6. For just having a heart attack over the HRE, yeah. Byzantium? No Byzantium. Eastern Roman Empire. That's one of the greatest settings that they added to the game. That was in one of the Tinto Talks, that you can set up the name if it's Byzantium, like in EU4, or is it Eastern Roman Empire, which is more historical. Ottomans is the new biz now? We'll see. I think based on the Tinto Talks, I think it's a bit different, because Byzantium in EU4 is like, oh, it's very hard, you're about to die, right? And you're small and you're in decline. While the Ottomans in Project Caesar is about to rise, not to decline. So it is small, yeah, but it should rise and conquer everything. So I hope they also set up the country to do that historically. He's like a big fan from Turkey. Keep up the good work, can't wait, and we wanna see an Ottoman campaign. Yeah, obviously we'll play an Ottoman campaign once I get access. I mean, my Tinto Talks videos have quite a nice viewership. Like, let's see, playlist. Let's find the Tinto Talks. Oh, no, don't do that. Tinto Talks. See, my Tinto Talks playlist has 43 videos. And yeah, the first one's like 20,000, 20-ish. And then obviously there's just too much content, so the viewership dropped. I think this is my most important video on this game that I released 4 months ago. It's just top 10 changes compared to the previous game. So I do recommend checking that after today, as it gives a good summary, lots different between the games. So you have even great timestamps to just, if you want just to listen to someone specific, like you see map, time, ages and institutions, expansion, diplomacy, characters, armies, ideas, trade, pops, new features. Well, yeah, this is about to start. Why there is a delay? Wasn't it supposed to start in 3 minutes from now? Yes, it's 4 minutes. Zlewikk, I wonder how exact situation will look like with Poland, because it's supposed to be 2 versus 3. Yes, we've seen that in the Tinto talks, right? That there is Lithuania and Poland on one side, and then Teutonic with its subject Livonia, and Bohemia with its subject Silesia. So it sounds impossible, right? But it's always like player versus AI, so if you learn the game enough, you can handle, I assume. Ottomans will be like Jiangsu? It's hard to tell. I would expect it, right? But it's a different way because the Ottomans are not a horde like in EU4, so I'm not sure it's a good comparison. I mean, it's like Ottomans in EU4, just you start smaller. Poland's not supposed to start an open war. Didn't they show that in the Tinto talks that it starts an open war? Unless they changed it in the meantime. Thanks for following. It's not as blunt. I think the main difference between this game and CK3 and Victoria 3 is how much of information they fed us about this game before announcing it today, right? And it's not only feeding information in the community. You see that one of you said that it's even too much, but allows people to leave feedback. And so we would avoid situation like you had Victoria 3 that everyone hated the war system, and yet they still did it. While here, based on like much feedback, they keep changing some of the features and reshape the game. So I think that should help them just avoid the Victoria 3 and CK3 situations. Will Alt 4 even work? It's 230 now, yes. Would that be very hard? Not sure if they ever showed that. I have no idea. Oh, Ludi is live, guys. How many people are watching Ludi? Oh, nice. Nice, Ludi. I'll just... Oh! Hello there. That's it. I'm very curious how the game will stay historical over the years. Remember, it's also a sandbox, right? So it's not supposed to be fully historical. First of all, you are supposed to have fun in this simulator, right? But at the same time, the game has much more stuff that allows to shape the game more historical compared to EU4. Because the issue of EU4 at this point, at this stage right now, it just has too many modifiers. And modifiers stacking is making the game so easy if you know how to do it. I mean, you're not supposed to conquer the world in 1465, are you? Yet you can do that in the current state of the game. Minutes. 1 minute, guys. I think once it will be announced to start, I'll speak less, so you can listen with me. And I'm gonna make the sound of it a bit louder, okay? But it's 1 more minute. I'll make it louder already. Just let me know if it's too bad. Oh my god, it's happening. I don't know if it shouldn't be overpowered, but since... it doesn't... I would say Aragon should be overpowered, right? Because Paradox Tinto is in Sieges. In Catalonia. It's not in Sweden. So, yeah, I think not Sweden. Aragon should be overpowered. Historical Ryukyu? How would even historical Ryukyu look like? Hype. Let's go. You hear the sound good, right? Of this countdown. Let's go. How many viewers? 24,000. Let's go. Shh. That's your.
Hello everyone, I'm Johan Andersson. I'm the studio manager of Paradox Tinto and the creative lead for Project Caesar. We've been teasing you guys about this project for over a year now, and now it's finally time to reveal what this is all about.
With each stroke of the brush, the landscape unfolds. And with
I have
every
goosebumps, guys.
gesture, a path is carved through history.
Full screen.
Ambition, once ignited, pushes forward and can never be tamed. With every line, a new horizon. Drawn from the wells of ancient civilizations, the landscape changes, but the drive remains. Painting with the sharp reds of revolution and the black ash of scorched battlefields. Legacy is forged of the chosen, tracing the silhouettes of warriors. With a final stroke, like fire across the landscape. Never before has the canvas stretched so far. Europa Universalis.
It is official! Let's go!
Ambitious.
It is official. Let's go. Wishlist on Steam! We can wishlist, guys! Let's go.
Yo, it's finally happening. How does it feel?
I don't have words to describe how excited I am about this. This is gonna be so good.
You got them right, Johan. I have no words.
5,000 hours.
I'm speechless.
How different
It
is
is
the experience
EU5.
it's going to be for me?
It's not like playing a new expansion.
And I know this guy.
We've
Who is that?
tried to change mechanics at every single place. Everything's going to be new. I would say throw away the 5,000 hours, but it's still going to be some things.
That's not John
So,
Paradox.
the team have been working on this for a very long time. How happy have you been with progress?
Does this bar go to 11?
It can if you want.
Yeah, well,
So very happy.
yeah, I'm super happy. It's like my team is among the best people I've ever worked with. They're been recruiting people a lot from
just
the
speak
community.
more far away from the
and
mic,
with
sorry.
people with a lot of experience. To be so great.
I know it's live, I'm
and the amount of
joking.
history and the amount of mechanics and everything we got into the game is beyond what I dreamed of when we started.
Do you have like a single word in mind to describe the idea behind what you're trying to achieve?
Ambitious, is that a good word? to
This
use?
is a very good use.
Yeah, I would just describe the game as
Guys, I can see
we
EU5
set up
on the
very
Steam already. I'm
ambitious,
wishlisting
and
it
it's
right
a
now.
game where you can do pretty much everything. in the
Everything.
game. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how I want to play it, there's something for me to do.
Yeah, it's like if you want to play Hanseatic Trader Nation, you can do that, just
at that.
focusing on trade. Or if you want to relive the Ottoman Empire's expansion as a militaristic country, you can do that. Or if you just want to sit and play as your small country somewhere and just get through history, you can do that.
So the world
Yeah, there are
itself
screenshots
is
of the
something
game
that's
on
alive.
Steam. We'll look at it later,
Yeah, I
okay?
think
Maybe they're gonna
that's
show it
the
in an
best description
announcement.
of the game. We're trying to feel like a game where it shouldn't feel like a game. It should feel like you actually are the country, playing that country through history and guiding it.
And how important would you say the community has been to the development of this game?
I don't think there's word that can describe how important they are, because part of my team is built from the community. We have been talking
There
for
are,
over
guys.
a year in various
Look into
ways,
that
like
soon. I
asking
think
for
they were gonna
feedback
show
about
us
the game.
something in an
'Cause
announcement.
If there's one
Let's
thing
wait.
these 12 years have
I'll
taught
let
me,
them show that.
is that the community is vital for making a good game.
That's
You can't just sit on
John
your own
Paradox.
and
No, that's
code
Johan.
something.
Johan Andersson, the
Johan, I think
creator
I'm
of
ready.
you.
Tell me everything there is to know.
How much time do you have?
It's 5,000 hours in EU4, I can spend a little more.
Yeah, well, I brought a bunch of developers that are more knowledgeable about the details of the game than I am, and they're in the castle up here ahead.
Well, let's go find him.
Yes, let's do.
Collector's Deluxe Edition. I remember EU2, my cousin had it. It's like this huge book. I want it for EU5. I absolutely want it.
Welcome to School Cluster Slot. The servant here will take care of your sword for you.
We can play? Given time, I
happens
think they
now?
might
Where should I
show
go?
something.
Well,
I
my
hope.
journey here is over, but in this castle, there's a lot of developers that will give you all the information you need.
Yeah, that's
But
also pretty big. There are
You
many
need to
more
take this
languages
to Eric.
than in
He will know
EU4,
what
right?
to do with it.
Including goddamn Polish.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and good luck on your journey.
Where's this castle? looks like England, honestly, by the weather.
Before this castle was built in 1654, this was just...
Project Caesar is a code name for EU5. So for every release they did at Paradox, they did like a naming based on the Roman times. Like Project Caesar, Project Augustus, I think it was Hoi 4 or something. And now Project Caesar is EU5, officially.
I'm going to take you on a journey to discover how they've done just that with Europa Universalis.
And there's Polish. Oh, there's also Lucas. We teamed up with Lucas to get you Polish guys, surely.
The first historical
And it's Turkish language.
Dave. Hi, Dave.
Oh, hi Dave.
I think it mainly depends on like how much community is in a specific country and how much you guys are buying the DLCs instead of pirating it. And that's why I think there's actual Polish language in EU5. Because you guys are playing and buying that game.
5 years ago by building a new studio in Spain, specifically to make the project. So we hired modders, we hired super fans, we hired the best developers from around the world, specifically to make this project.
Project Caesar is
So once
EU5.
you've assembled this great team,
Can't change the name
where
of
do
the
you go from
stream.
that? What's your first starting point?
It starts with a vision, and that vision came from Johan, and it was, I want to make the grandest strategy game. That includes everything.
I just changed
from
the stream
having,
name on YouTube, guys.
From being the most immersive game we could possibly make, having a living world where everything feels like it's impacting something else.
So you've taken all the buzzwords, gone historically accurate, dynamism, you want immersion. How do you take those ideas and put them into a game?
That's a tricky question. Well, one of the things you start
Who cares
with is
about
making
new
a
Pope?
concept
We've
art,
got EU5
so we can
announced.
decide how everything looks and feels.
What's the first mechanic?
That's
that
not
comes to mind?
sieges.
What do
I
you
was
start
in
with?
sieges.
POPs, which are population groups, groups of people. So, for example, people of the same culture and religion band together into a single unit. And they can be anything from just one person to a million people, one of these units.
So a single person to multiple millions and millions. So we're simulating hundreds of millions at the start of the game.
We're simulating every person who was alive in 1337.
That's a lot of people.
Yes.
So the population system is tied into everything that you do. How do I get more of them?
With food production. So the more food you produce, the more surplus you have.
So they're
which
talking about the
increases
features
your
that we already
population
know
growth.
about, right? It's
And then,
more
of
like
course,
an
the reverse
announcement
is
for
true.
people that never
If they're
heard about
starving,
EU5
you're going to lose a lot of pops.
from the Team
So we're
Talks,
modelling
but it's just
individuals
talking about the
being
pops,
born,
right?
working,
We saw this. Oh,
dying,
population
and
of
so they're all
Poland.
stratified throughout
I wonder
society.
what
Does that-
happened here.
Yes, so
Maybe
each
Black Death?
has a type, a sort of social class, which could be,
Yeah,
of
there's
course,
a Turkish
nobility, burghers, peasants. They all have different jobs, depending on which class they're in, and they also belong to different estates in your government.
So what's an estate? What do they do?
An estate is a group of
Yes,
pops
we've got
who
estates,
have a
which we know from
political
Team
agenda.
Talks as well.
Now, most countries have
see
the
you've got
nobility, burghers,
That's also, they're showing
clergy,
it based on
and peasants.
Poland.
And basically,
Poland
they
nation,
all have
guys.
their own privileges that you give them and can take away from them.
Yeah, the
You
pops,
can also sort them by social.
so the states are
for
pops with
example,
different types, right? They've got
clergymen are a
the
different group from nobility.
privileges, just like in EU4. They just work a bit
It ties
different.
into the estate system, yes.
How does the estate system work?
Is Zlewikk actually put on Paradox? They didn't announce that, but maybe.
Which have their own
More
agenda.
food, more
They have their
pop.
own ideas of how they want to run the country.
What if the nobility decide they want something different to me? Can they just
When
go off
Florida-
and do it?
It depends. If you give them the right privileges, you might give them the ability to build their own fortifications or allow your
If you
peasants
got, they
to arm
will
themselves.
talk about this a
So
bit
regardless
later.
of if I want it, if I've given
Because
them that
after the
privilege,
announcement, I've got a
they're going to
Q&A
go and do it.
session
And I'm
prepared.
assuming that
You'll
if
see why
their
later.
agendas and my agenda line up, that's going to benefit me quite nicely.
But they don't always line up. That's the rub.
25,000 people watching it. Very nice. Żabkas?
What is a
EU5?
privilege? You
Why would they have
mentioned-
żabkas?
Nobility building forts.
Plant
What
of
does that
power?
look like in terms of other
Maybe.
privileges, like with the clergy?
So you could, for example, give your burghers control over the coinage.
Let's make
It's all
nobility
about,
have
give and
120%
take,
of the power.
You almost never want to give them a privilege, but sometimes it becomes necessary.
So give me a context in which it's necessary. Why would I give out a privilege?
Maybe you want to pass something through Parliament, and the nobility say, we'll only let
So
that
if you
give
lose
us this privilege."
how it's
the
called.
inverse happens and their agenda doesn't align with
So if
the
you lose an
agenda,
internal
bring them under
war, let's
control,
say
pass it.
peasants declare on you, or more like nobility
If you're-
declares
if you're
an
feeling confident,
internal
you can
war on you,
remove
and you lose that
privileges
war, they can
from
seize the
the
power
state,
in the country.
but you
And then we
need
have a
ensure
screen to
that you're in
choose.
a good position to do
Okay,
that.
lost,
It's a constant
or you
balance. I need to
keep
make
playing
sure
as that country
happy,
that
not too
that
powerful
won
that
with
can
you.
take me out.
Yes.
Well, that was in the
Fantastic.
Tinta Talks.
So if I manage to do everything correctly, what does that look like?
If you have a happy populace,
And they
happy
also
estates,
convert in the Tinta
you
Talks
have a
that
prosperous
modders
nation,
work on that
and that
game,
will allow you to
including
go from
people from
this
Muon Taxes. And
to
I am
this.
also aware of some other great modders
Welcome,
helping, but I can't
Well
tell you their
done. Thank you
names.
very
They,
much.
they can reveal themselves to you. A swan? Oh, I hope I'm not gonna get
EU5 stretches from 1337
Have subscription.
to 1837.
Copyright
That's
strike for
500
that
years of
music I
history.
just
A
played.
lot happens in that time period. Talk me through how the game changes to reflect
stock
the changes. in
clusters
history.
castle in Sweden.
So
Okay.
we've
Whoever
divided
sounds
the
about
era
right.
into 6 different ages, and inside those ages we have different institutions. So that
Yeah, 6 ages,
every
3 institutions in every
slice
age.
of 100 years or so feels different from the previous
Like,
one or the next one.
That's it's from Tinta Talks. Like for example, Age of Renaissance has banking, has Renaissance, and has professional armies that you have to embrace.
By the end of the game, you have the Industrial Revolution.
And each age, as well as each institution, unlocks you advances. And we have advances tree instead of the technologies, which is big improvement, but also technically pain in the ass for people that are playing it for the first time, because you have no idea where the advance they're looking for is.
That unlocks a brand new technology tree. And a
French castle?
Can choose to go
So
down
it's
that
French
list
or
and unlock,
Swedish?
specific things from that tree.
So you mentioned
Sigma
institutions.
Castle in Ligma,
What
yes, that's
exactly
the
are
point.
So an institution is
No,
an
we don't
idea
have a
that
date.
Spreads. For
Let's
example,
see.
it could be the quest
No
for the
date.
new world, which changes the way that you can
8
explore.
in-game rewards for signing up. Well, system requirements. TPC, 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 TPC. Yeah, they don't know yet, guys.
So exploration was a big thing during this era. I'm assuming that's also modeled in the game.
Yes.
How does that work?
So once you reach the age of discovery, you might want to start looking over the oceans and to decide to colonize
Exploring, to colonize.
distant lands.
So colonization then, how does that work?
Do you think EU5
So
is better
any
than
country can
EU4?
colonize. And
I
it's a
don't
lot
know.
easier
I
if you
can
have
answer that
Quest for
question in the
New
Q&A
World,
session after
institution
the
in
announcement.
But
Oh yeah, I expect it
colonization
to be
allows you
better,
to,
just based on the Tinta Talks and
take
how much content they
unclaimed
put there.
territory and,
But I need to
absorb
play
it into
hundreds of
your empire.
hours in EU5
So
to
any country can
be
colonize.
able
There
to
don't have
say,
be a
tell you, is
specific
it
nation to colonize?
is it better or is it gonna be better than EU4?
How different?
Just
does
based on the
gameplay
Tinta
vary
Talks,
from
can't really
place to
say.
place?
The games vary quite a lot depending on which country you choose.
How about with Papa?
You're impacted so much.
the game's
by
gonna be so
your,
ass?
Your setup.
Then don't
what
play it.
pops
You can keep
have,
playing
what terrain you
EU4.
have,
That's the
and
most
what
beautiful
neighbors you
thing.
have.
If you don't like
Every
EU5, just
playthrough is
stick to
gonna be
EU4.
different
It's,
if you're playing
this game
with
is still
France
up to date.
against Flanders.
I mean, if the
But I'm not
EU5
locked
wasn't
in,
around
am
for the
I?
next
I can
5 years, I would
take
keep
the
playing
starting position of
EU4.
France and go
Let's
wherever
be
I want
honest.
with it. I could colonize.
And there are so many
fight,
great
I could
mods to this.
Focus on the economy. I could focus
It's like
on
you
trade.
can never be bored of that game.
It's not
That's
railroading.
fine if you don't like
can
EU5.
choose which path you want. So you can take France as a big trading nation, or you could just conquer your neighbors.
So the big takeaway is that
If
it
I
is
can
a
have some
living
feedback on this
world.
announcement show so
Exactly.
far,
But in order to achieve what we've been talking about,
I think
to
they
do any of
when
the
they're talking
scenarios
about
we've gone through, I
features,
have to take
they
care of
do
the
show some
population, right?
screenshots, but it's like
your
3
population
seconds gone.
influences every
I think there should be
decision you
much
take.
more
Your population
in-game
is
stuff
your
showed when
economy.
they're talking about
your
the
economy
features.
is your population.
Like there's a guy
So,
talking, or
you have to look after
he's
them
good,
if you
should
want
be
to
somewhere
lead your country to
smaller,
wealth.
but the game should be
Well,
showed
here's the
when he's
wealth.
talking about its features.
wealth.
But that's just how I would approach an announcement show. And I might have some experience because I work in the industry that is related to live streams.
Every game
I don't know
needs
where
a
it's gonna
solid
be
framework,
released,
and
but-
EU5 will have just
And I think
that.
nothing
The
Paradox
population
knows
mechanic
yet.
will be at the heart of everything that you do.
But my
And
bet
if you manage
is
to carefully,
around
you
Black
will be
Friday, so
rewarded with
November,
a prosperous
late
round.
November.
Hundreds
That's
of
the
millions
time of the
people
year
are
when
going
you want
be
to release a
stimulated
game,
in
to
a
get
fully
great
dynamic
sales.
living world. But what does that actually mean? Let's go to the library to find out.
But that's out of talks now, but maybe they're gonna show us more later, right? It's still not finished. Oh, not that guy. Who that was? Oh, no, that guy.
Roger!
This is a library.
That's going to complicate the interview.
Fair enough.
Can you tell me about the living world?
Living world means that things don't come out
Roger
of nothing.
Koraminas,
It's
content
the
designer.
population that live in the locations which produce the goods by working in the resource gathering operations, or RGO for
Show
short.
the behind the
And then
scenes
those
till
goods are
12.6.
used in other buildings.
What are those? How do I build them? How do I use them?
Buildings are in locations, and there are many types of buildings that all of them do different things. But
I
in
don't see that on
general,
the site.
they will take resources to maintain and to build, and some of
8
them
November.
will produce
That's my
other
guess.
types of
I might be
goods.
very wrong.
And they will employ
But that
the
would be my
population to do
expectation.
that.
What would I do with those goods?
All the goods produced, both raw resources and refined goods, go into the
Yeah,
market.
that they're going right now of the goods. Like, you had goods in U4, but they were like the trade system was very simplified, even though it was
So, what
not
is a
easy to
market?
learn.
does
But
that
in
work?
U5, you've got like what 150 or more goods, so twice as many as in U4.
A market center
Yeah, each location produces a specific good. You can build buildings that produce new goods from raw materials. You can have RGOs to get the raw materials like silver from a province. And then you can be used for your internal market, for the pops, or you can export it to the other markets. Or you can import from the other markets the goods that your pops are needing, or your business is needing. That's just simplified how the
If you need some
production
in
and
the
trade
market,
system
you
will
will
work
have
in
access to
EU5.
it. You'll have to make a trade deal between.
And I saw the
markets
screenshots.
that
I hope they're gonna show more
you
here.
have access to.
Let's say a location is in the market of Scandinavia, let's call it. Is that permanent or can they shift?
Now, markets are completely dynamic. Every location will belong to a market or another market depending on different factors.
Yeah, and you've
And
already gotten
markets themselves can be
exactly.
created and destroyed
Which is,
completely
as told you
freely.
earlier, it's a
Oh, freely.
Victoria 3
They
we
have
never
a
got.
So I,
At
as
least
a player, can both create and
It sounds like it.
markets.
Maybe it's
Yes.
worse.
Okay.
We'll get to know
Yes,
once we
you
get to
can
play it,
create
right?
Your own market, if you are, for example, if you are playing in Sweden and you don't have a market because you're trading in the market of Zlewikk, for example, and you see it more beneficial for you to have a market in Stockholm, you can create a market in Stockholm.
So in this Stockholm market, let's say I wanted something like legumes. How could I get it if it wasn't already in my market?
If you want some good that's not in your market, then you'll have to make a trade.
Oh, it's not Victoria
Country
3
can
system.
make a trade deal
It's not a Victoria
between,
3 system.
any
It's actually
two
closer to
markets
Victoria
that
2
they have
than
access
Victoria
to.
3.
And that
much
would
better
move
Victoria
the
than
goods
Victoria free
from,
system.
The stockpile of that market to the.
But
market
obviously
you're
you'll
moving.
So
rate
if I'm
yourself.
Sweden, I can have Danish provinces in my location.
Yes.
Oh, there's
the
an awesome
goods
trailer
produced
released on the
in
EU channel. Let me
Danish
comment that.
locations Will be used in your market.
So if I'm buying goods and selling goods, what determines the price of those goods?
Trade deals have a cost based on the distance between the markets and also depending on the price of the specific good. Each good have a base price and also it will be modified.
The VGB
depending
promises a
on
market.
basically supply
That
and
sounds like a
demand between
Chewy
the
mod.
different markets they are being traded.
Who cares about the
So if a
Pope,
good
guys?
is very abundant in a
talk
market,
about
it
EU5
will be
here.
cheap. And if it's not
How about
that
election of a
abundant
Pope
or
in
maybe
EU5? I think it
scarce,
was
will
recently
be
in the
expensive.
Tinto Talks,
How
right?
do I
They
get
showed
money
the
to then
Pope
buy
content.
goods at a loss?
So from what I've seen,
Countries
once the
can
Pope dies,
gain
we've got the
income from
conclave event,
a
and after some
variety of
time
sources,
after this
but
event,
the
you'll be
main
able to
one
choose
is
from 3 different
basically
popes.
taxing your
And
population.
the popes can be elected from
However,
cardinals, which are in
you
game, and a
won't be
cardinal is a
able to
building that you can
completely
build
tax all
with
your
enough influence
population
in the Catholic
because
religion.
it will depend on the
And
control
your
you have
cardinal
of
can
the
be elected a
locations.
pope.
So what's control?
Control is an indicative or basically.
Yeah, that's how
amount
the
of
control
power
system
that your
works in
country
game,
has in a
right?
location,
So, like in EU4, you had the
it will
autonomy.
emanate from your
So,
capital.
control in
You have
EU5,
your
it's
capital
reverse
will
autonomy.
increase
So, the more control you have, the better. Right? You have 100% control in your capital, but the more far away it is from your capital, the less control you have. That's why blobbing is not always so worth it in that game. You might just want to have subjects instead.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, Roger.
So Roger has just told us about the living world, dynamic markets, and how to build a prosperous nation. But all I heard was newly conquered territories. Let's head to the armory.
Ooh, armory. Let's go. Hello.
Oh, Eric!
Welcome to the armory.
Thank you. I've been given this map. I think it's finally time we show them.
Yes, show the map from the Johan. What's that?
This is a map of 1337, but how accurate is it?
Well, Leif, I would say this is the most accurate and granular map we have.
No, but better trade goods system and trade setting
So you're going to need to
is
get me
a
this
selling
beautiful map.
point.
How important is
It's
historical
better than
accuracy
EU4.
to something
EU4
like
is like
this?
so simplified.
I'm glad you asked, because basically the map we're starting in 1337, I would say we made a huge effort in making it as accurate and granular
in
as
EU4 map
possible,
everything is
which
also not
that
always
obviously
worth
has
it.
its challenges.
So it
For
doesn't mean it's
example,
not gonna
in
be
the
fun.
warfare end of things, since now the diversity geographically wise is huge, so a lot of things can impact the outcome of a war. So basically what we are talking here is that, for example, let's
Influence
say
control?
if you had a military campaign,
Yeah, I
in
think
something
they share
around
that there are
Caucasus,
roads
area
in
over
game,
here,
right, in the
with,
Tinto Talks, like 4 times of the roads that you unlock over time that increase the control.
and this part of the world,
Are there any buildings included in that? I assume there would be. There's just so many buildings. I didn't follow the buildings Tinto Talks much.
that obviously
Tinto
you
buildings?
might feel like it's an opportunity, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a trap. It's a huge trap.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
By that, which I mean is that things like, let's say, rivers, mountains.
Okay, deving is an awful
streams,
mechanic
those
game,
definitely
like
can
at the same
define
time also
the outcome
beautiful
of a
because it
battle,
gives
and
the
potentially
instant
the
dopamine,
outcome.
right, to click
So
the
you have to be very careful
the
with
death
how you
paths.
treat
From a
your
gameplay
own
perspective,
of
it
troops
doesn't
in
make
the-
much
in the
sense.
map.
So the pops
Before we even get
is just
to
a better
war,
system.
what kind of preparations do I need to make to supply my armies?
I would say, first of all, that going into a war is not easy at all. And yeah, you can be challenged in case they declare to you if you are not prepared. In case you are the one that wants to be the aggressor, I would say that the first thing to consider is building a war chest. That would be
Yeah, so
for
the
starters.
siege system is
But
also improved in
you
EU5
have
because
to
you
be
have
very careful
5
with
times
the
more
production
locations,
game
right, versus provinces in
because
EU4.
At starting date,
So yeah, there will be
basically
castles to
you rely a
siege,
lot
but it's not in
into
every
raising
location.
levies.
And sieging
those
castle will
levies
also
come
siege
from
its zone of
population.
control
And the
locations
thing is that
around.
this population
But there will
is
be
the
also
one
a similar system to
responsible for the
Imperator
factory
Rome. Well,
So
a
what
province,
I'm saying
so
here is that
multiple
when you
locations in that
start a
province,
campaign
will
in
have a capital. And if you
1337
siege
and
that
raise
capital,
all
if
your
it's not
levies,
in the zone
you're
of control of
making
the
your
forge,
buildings
it is also gonna siege down all of the locations
So
in
you're
that
telling
province.
me that if
That's,
I, raise
I
all my
think that's a
levies,
good
get into a
system
bad
for the
battle,
quantity of
and
locations
my
they're
army
having.
gets wiped out, I'm also wiping out all of my population.
Got to go?
at home, so there's
See
no
you.
one to
I would
work
recommend
in the
staying
fields
at
and
least
the
5 more
buildings.
minutes, guys, because
That
it
is
will be
Good
worth
to
it.
know.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about military objectives, what are some of those military objectives? Can I tell an army to go siege?
No,
Can I
it's
tell an army
not
to go engage
like
other
EU4
armies?
base
How
game
does
at
that
all.
Definitely. Like for starters,
More
there would
similar
be
to
one of
Imperator
the
Rome
most,
and
used, I
second
assume
release.
It's gonna be the carpet siege, which basically is the one that allows you to make a lot of your armies go straight towards the forts of your enemy, so you don't need to be micromanaging on that regard. And that obviously
System would be
has
AI would be
its
terrible
pros
with.
and its cons. Like,
I would
let's
say the AI
you
would
are,
be much better
too
with
heavy
than
on these,
a player.
tools, and you use them a bit too much,
AI can
then you
micromanage
have
their
to
armies
your-
much better than a
your own
player, right?
country. 'Cause there is
On
a
the other hand,
military
player can
objective to defend
pause
your
and see
own
what
land
AI is
or to
doing
pull
and just
everyone back
accommodate
to
their
the front.
actions to what
But
they're
if you
doing.
are just using the tools in an aggressive way, it's probably gonna screw you up when it comes
Yeah, that's
to
what
the enemy.
they're
So
saying right
let's
now.
say,
AI can
hypothetically, I
use
am
these
an
tools
Englishman,
to screw you
and
up.
I want to press my rightful claim on the throne of France. Can I use my superior navy and
Imperator
certain
Rome
ability?
2.0 is second
Definitely,
best part of the game right now.
Like, navies in
Features
EU5
wise,
are meant to
obviously
be,
it lacks
first of all,
content because it
a
doesn't have
movement of troops.
DLC
That
of
is
content.
a huge,
But features wise, it's
thing that
second
helps
best part of the
the
game, at least for me,
troops to
after
move
EU4.
around, but also it supplies nearby armies.
If
So
you never
that would
played
be something to
Imperator
take
Rome
into
2.0,
account.
you'll
I
miss
would
out
also
a
add to
lot.
this that
Good
if
features.
you, as an Englishman, start, let's say you go to with another one, and you
Of course!
here,
Oh,
and
Dwarf,
you
you'll
start
know, you
to
play
dig
MP.
into French
So
territory,
if a
thanks
player
to
with 2 million
this
army leaves the game and AI
you
plays
would
it,
get is that a
can you
lot
beat
of
that
the
AI on
locations,
speed 3 without
in
pausing?
France, when you occupy them, you can
An answer is no.
their foot.
So I can
You
live off
can't.
the land in France.
Yes.
Ideally.
That's the.
I know, because I've
And
played
also,
such
like, it
such
goes
situations
both
many
ways.
times.
You get the
And I
foot
had
of the
troubles
enemy,
defeating
and
that
the
AI on
enemy
speed
doesn't
2,
get the foot.
not speed 3, on
So
speed
that is
2.
pretty good for your outcome.
So you've mentioned that wars are won and lost according to your economy if you're out too long. How do I win a battle?
Winning a battle can be
Use
decided
terrain
by a lot of
advantage.
factors.
I think
First
that's
of
gonna
all,
be a tough part, right?
if
Because you
war,
have so
if
many
have
locations.
the biggest
In
army,
U4, after a
you probably
time, you
will
could
win.
learn,
But
right?
the thing is that this
Or
game
use the
doesn't,
simple
show
terrain.
you that.
So the different factors
But there's
are
so many locations
size of the
here.
army,
I mean,
yes,
besides
professionalism of the army,
force, it'd be
the general,
hard to
the terrain,
understand.
Yes.
and beyond.
Yeah, I would
And
say
remember that.
supplying your
Nice
army
hat.
with, food.
It's
If
a
an
Polish
enemy
Eastern
has low
Schlachterhat,
morale due
not
to
Kozak.
low,
I mean,
food
it's the same
supply,
style,
that
but
is another
that's
factor to
it's not a
consider.
Kozak.
An
It's an
army
Eastern
definitely
Polish
can't fight.
Schlachter.
basically that.
Kopak.
So what are the potential ramifications of starvation?
But both came from the Tatars,
Your
I think.
entire army could
The
starvation,
Cossack
which
hats
would
and
be
Eastern
a very
Schlachter
bad
hats.
outcome, I
The
would say
Tatars
so.
brought them, so the
And
hordes.
that means probably that the enemy will be super happy about it. So, but yeah, in order to supply your army, you would have to consider, first of all, supply depots. That's something you have to get from locations in order to, especially if your campaign is long and you are very deep into the enemy land. And there's some countries here that I would say are huge in terms of territory. Let's say you start as Morocco.
Look at
and
this
you want
map,
to
guys. Isn't it
invade
beautiful?
Castile. So the more you
These
get
little
into
castles
the specific
in
territory,
the map.
the more you might be punished unless you prepare fine with it.
So if I'm Tunisian
Yes.
and I want to
Look at this
invade
army, you see it?
Castile,
Yes.
the deeper
They
I
have
go, the more I
pitchforks
get to supply, 'cause I can
and
be cut.
bows. This might be
That's
must
pretty
be
much
Levis
it.
if they
But
have
not only
pitchforks.
that, because if you don't make sure that your own country is safe in terms of occupations, then you could face another problem, which is that your enemy cuts down your supply. And that would mean that at the end, you wouldn't get that much needed food.
Let's say I have a weaker economy than my opponent. They're going to win. Am I able to secure quick tactical victories in order to beat my opponent? How can I take their resources away from them?
Well, that's a very good question.
Fun
because
fact,
there's a lot of
U4 was supposed to have
for
pops.
once, the map,
Remember,
we
U4
have in
release
this
only
game
had the tax
allows
base,
you
right?
to
Didn't have the
browse
development,
very
tax
carefully
base.
which
But
enemy
then they
locations
decided it's
might be producing,
too hard for them to
land
build in
and
an
goods
existing
that
game,
are
and
going
instead
to
of
supply their units.
pops, they
I guess,
built
as
the
my
development
choice,
system
let's,
in
for
EU4.
example, choose the Golden Horde. So Golden Horde relies heavily on horses, as we all know. So if you detect the places that
Guys, the
have
announcement
horses
is
in
late.
it, and you
Let's
are
look
quick
at
enough
this.
to occupy those, you're basically decreasing their chances to fill up their ranks once they have some losses, and that would benefit you a lot.
1830.
That also would include other types of factors like, let's say,
I just released a video, guys. I can say that now officially because it's 1830.
for your enemy. Then you are doing
After this live stream, you can go and watch it. I did play this game, and I have video on the channel already. But the announcement is still ongoing. It was supposed to finish by now.
managing of their supplies, then you have an opportunity there. So yeah, I would say that if you are using a small
can
country, you're playing a
post it
small
here in the
country,
channel,
you
the
might have
URL.
a chance to succeed.
So it's less about the
Early
size of
access
the
to
dog
the
in the
game
fight
for a
and
few
more about
weeks,
how
I
much
got-
food is in his food bowl.
Yeah, that I would say that. Yes.
Nice.
There's many ways to punish your enemy.
And
Another
now,
good option,
my
obviously,
embargo
even
on
comes from
talking
import
about me
times,
playing the
although
game's
in
also
this
down.
case, I would say it's harder.
I
would be
can
to occupy
start
the
telling you
capital.
about my
When you occupy the
experience.
capital of
But
the
let's
enemy,
wait for the announcement to finish,
basically
okay?
You are.
The victor.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for all that fantastic information, but I have just one more question for
There
you.
will be about 20 creators releasing a
How many
video right
princes are
now,
there in
guys.
the HRA?
Just FYI. And I recommend checking mine, of course. I would recommend probably checking most of them because each of us played a different country with different features. Obviously, we look in the different features a bit deeper.
So
I'll talk
Eric
about that
left
in a second.
before
Now
I could
let's
get all the
late
answers
finish.
that I
Okay.
wanted, but
Yeah.
I know somewhere else that I
Faster.
can seek guidance.
Are you allowed to stream it? I lost my access to U5 this morning. I don't have access anymore. I don't have release date. And I don't know what's the release date. But I said my guess. My guess is end of year, like late November, around Black Friday.
Forgive me, random church bench dev, for I have sinned.
You saw the Lamberts this morning video. Yeah, that was an oopsie.
I have a
Happens.
question about fates.
About your faith.
No, about fates in the game.
That's slow.
Well, that I
Yeah,
can
guys,
do.
now I can answer any of your
We
questions
have
on the
around
gameplay.
300
I've
faiths
played
in
the game
There's
for
Catholicism, there's Buddhism, There's
50
horizons
hours.
and there's
50?
features and many
Yeah, I
features.
think I've played the game for 50
Have
hours.
their own unique mechanics.
Yes,
Outside of
everyone
which,
has,
40 is
own
Poland,
set of mechanics.
and then a bit of Byzantium and a bit of Pope, and a
I'm
lot
assuming
just looking around.
Different pops have varieties of different things.
Soundtracks? Soundtracks are good. There's Falalan in game, guys. And I used Falalan at the start of my video.
Could be pops of many diverse faiths
12 June,
that you will have
there's
to interact
12 June there will be
with
more
and
content. So no fucking way there will be it will be released on 12 June. Unless they will tell us in 12 June when it's released.
There's a pop that has the same faith as me.
You know what's the funniest part?
Not
I've played
necessarily. They
50
can be
hours
perfectly unhappy by sharing.
while being on that trip to freaking Tuscany. I had to bring my computer on my road trip to play this game because most of the time when I had access, I was in the goddamn Tuscany. Do I have any pictures of it to show you? I don't think so.
You mentioned that I can.
I think my wife has it on her phone.
A fully tolerant society, tolerating all minorities.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're particularly humanist.
The map looks absolutely good, but it's nothing new, guys. The map was already in the Tinto Talks. Big thing about the map is in the settings you can choose. Is the map curved, right, like they showed you in some screenshots, or is it a flat map mode? And I'm using absolutely the flat map mode in my gameplay because that's my preference. You can steal for Rome. That was announced in the Tinto Talks, but I didn't try it.
Or you could focus here
U4 or U5?
quantity.
I tell you what, I only played 50 hours. If I tell you if the game is good after 50 hours, I'm a liar. I can't tell you that. I think I need another 200 hours to tell you. What I can tell you, I had fun learning this game. I had absolute fun learning this game. And the game has its issues, which I will mention on my second video 2 days from now, because I'm allowed to post one more video on EU5 in 2 days. In today's video, I just focus on gameplay, because I could only, the video could be only 30 minutes long. So I just focused on showing you different types of the gameplay. Issues. Biggest issue is performance. It's terrible. But they promised us multiple times that they're gonna fix the performance by the release. But right now, thanks for subscription, the performance is terrible. And I'm having my fingers crossed they're gonna fix it. Because half of you probably will have troubles playing the game with the current performance. I have like the most up-to-date PC. Look, can I post in the chat my PC specs? Let me try. PC?
Be ambitious.
Does it work? Yeah, there it is. That's my PC, right? Besides the graphic card, I have really good PC. And I spent 2 hours changing settings to make the game work for me smoothly. And works for me smoothly in the end. I had to play on medium settings with some stuff turned off. You can't? You can. You usually actually work on performance at the very end of the game, once you have all of the features and the game standardized. So I'm a bit I think that's the end of the stream. I'm a bit worried about the performance, but I have faith. Okay. Questions. I can answer any question that is within what I played. What other questions do you have? Can I show you the non-flat map mode? I think it was showed at the very beginning of the video. Thank you for subscription. Okay, UI. Look at this. The UI is better than I expected. You saw my Tinto Talks videos. I always said over there, I don't like the UI. I hope they're gonna fix it. But in the Tinto Talks, you only see a little parts of the UI, right? Oh, just this little window. But when you pull it all together, as you see here, it's a good UI. I was positively surprised. I was shocked when I was in the sieges and saw the UI for the first time. It is better than expected. Obviously, it is not perfect yet, but it is good. Look, you see here, this is your king. The portraits, the 3D characters are also pretty good. I've got the waving flag. That's maybe better to show it like that. We've got the estate satisfactions and how it's changing. You've got the main panels like in U4. You've got the money, stability, pops, legitimacy, prestige, diplomats, war exhaustion, manpower. Then, of course, there's advance, your current age, there's, how it's called, the outliner and the pop-ups. I can show just around the video, like how you can decide yourself if you like the UI or not. It definitely requires some more tweaking. Thank you for the subscription. It's not perfect yet, but it's better than I expected. World conquest still possible? Like, look, that's what I did as Poland in how many years? 100 years of gameplay. That's what I achieved as Poland. That's me, that's my subject. Better than historical Poland. But the issue is, even if you conquer that much, can I show it? Oh yeah. If you conquer that much, the issue is control. You see, that's my average control in specific locations, with that much conquered. And this is after building roads almost everywhere and buildings for control almost everywhere. Is Memela Square? It's not. Disgusting? What is disgusting? My borders? My borders are good. Thank you for subscription, and that's my also honest opinion. After playing EU5 and going back to EU4, I feel like playing a game from the previous age. Even though I like UI in EU4, it still doesn't feel good after playing EU5, which I didn't expect to feel. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. The performance is terrible. I know people that couldn't even turn on the game. The mission trees, there were mission trees, but they removed them because they didn't like them, and they are redoing the mission trees. So we had a version of the game without mission trees. The UI is readable. It's not the most perfect, but it surprised me positively. And it doesn't matter the title on Twitch. The YouTube is more important. Swords and Walters Nightmare has... one thing that is worth mentioning, that the performance doesn't change over time. I had one campaign that so I couldn't show you gameplay past 1437 because they still work in the later ages, but I did play my first Poland campaign until 1500s, and the performance didn't change. I had my optimal settings for the performance, and it worked all the time. It didn't change. It didn't slow down over time. Is it much harder than EU4? So here is the thing. I followed most of the team talks. So actually when I jumped into the game, I knew what to do already. Obviously I had to learn where to find something, what is optimal, and I'm still not playing optimal after 50 hours. You can't. It's too little. But I found the learning curve to be quite fast. One thing that is definitely still TBD and not polished yet are the tooltips. We have tooltips in tooltips, what they introduced in CK3, so that's great. But some tooltips are not helpful yet. I think that's a game that might be played until late game. One thing that I do like is in the main menu. So when you open a specific country, you got its pops, population, king. You see Kazimierz the Great is 80, 80, 80. See these numbers here? When you open a country, you get to know how much flavor the country has. So Poland has 9 unique mechanics from this government, from the country type, settled. 39 features from being a monarchy, 0 features for culture, 69 features for being Catholic, 70 unique Polish events, and includes stuff like Apion Halech, historically, right? It includes stuff of releasing Prussia as your subject. It includes stuff like Union of Krevel with Lithuania, but also includes stuff like historical characters, like Zawisza Czarny. You've got a Zawisza Czarny alien event. You've got event for Jan Długosz. That's really good. And then it gets 21 bonuses from the country as Poland. Mainly advances, which are like, you could say, ideas that the country has. In EU4, like what, 10 ideas? National ideas. You've got 21 just for Poland. Which is great. It's various, like, for example, where it is. Grosz Krakowski is minting Stone and brick, it's like, for Kazimierz the Great, is the cost of construction. And if you take a look at the other countries, there are a lot of countries that have even more content than Poland. Okay, can I show you? Did I show you that in the video? I think I didn't end up doing that. Oh no, they are, okay. So now I'm gonna switch to, you see, Golden Horde has less, much less. Hungary has more. France has 176 events. But in general, I think they even told that in the Tinto Docs, like around 80 countries has content, the unique content, while the others will be more depending on the culture, on the government type, and they will keep improving that over time. But mainly countries in Europe right now have a lot of content, but countries like Korea, Ashikaga, Khmer, these are not having much yet. Map modes. I think I'm showing that a little bit here in the intro. So, remember, I had only 30 minutes. So this is 30 minutes video. So I didn't show all of the map modes, but there are 64 map modes in game. 64 map modes. Twice as many as in U4. Does the logistic and battle system feel good? So I'll tell you what. I didn't care about logistic at all yet. I knew that for my standing army I had to build the donkeys to handle the logistics. And I didn't go much into that yet. I just checking, will I get attrition going somewhere? What is important, if you go too much far away from your borders to siege something, your army is gonna run out after a long time out of food and gonna get more attrition. And another thing is, when the bigger the army is, the more morale it loses while traveling. Yes, it loses morale while traveling, unlike in U4. So if you just overstack, it's like you just moved to two locations, you're out of morale. So you have to be really cautious how you manage your army. And the battle system, so there are two parts. In early game, you've got levies, right? So I like that comparison. One guy said that levies is like, you have to imagine peasants with pitchforks. That's what the levies are in early game. And these guys die a lot in the battles. Like, you go into the battle with 8,000 of these guys, and 7,000 of them might die. That's how big the losers are with the levies. And what I also found is that there's not much quality difference, because levies and levies, they're both useless. So what the biggest impact has in the early game is the general and the quantity. If you have quantity advantage, you're almost sure to win. Unless you fight the hordes, which I once tried and I got my ass fucking kicked. Then over time, you can start getting buildings for standing army, which give you manpower, you can build a standing army. And that standing army can absolutely wipe out the levies. So it's fun to actually build a standing army because you have so many more unit types compared to U4. Because there are different cavalry types. There's bowmen, there's archers, you unlock new unit types in your advances. There's 2 winged hussars units in the advances that you unlock as Poland. So building up a standing army is really fun, but it's also very expensive. MP, I think some creators tried MP, I didn't, so I can't tell. Now just let it play in the background. Mercenaries. I didn't like the mercenaries. I saw other creators liking it. I honestly didn't like it. I mean, I like the fact that if you hire mercenaries, someone else cannot hire it unless they pay them more. So that's a good system, I like it. But it's really weird because you hire a mercenary leader and then within that mercenary leader you can choose how many units of each type you want from that mercenary leader. They are expensive as hell and I didn't find the UI intuitive for the mercenaries. But again, I didn't play much with mercenaries actually, I didn't need them. Because Poland has a lot of pops and a lot of levies. I tried Eastern Roman Empire, and I tried Pope as well, and Florence. I tried these 3 nations, but these 3 nations I've played like 10-20 years. While Poland I played 200 years campaign and 100 years campaign. Casus Bellis. Okay, oh see that's the non-flat map mode. It's nice, especially for thumbnails, but I prefer the flat map mode like here. So CBs are weird, but I think it's indeed overall an improvement. So, first of all, you have a few default CBs, like you have a claim, like I have on the Pomerania here as Poland. You can use it, but to use it you have to build spy network, and for 20 spy network you can start fabricating actual casus belli to start the war. Unless you use the parliament, because every 5 years you can call parliament, and one of the action items in the parliament is to have a casus belli for any country in the world, which is insult casus belli and makes the provinces twice more expensive to take. So it's quite nice for casus bellis, but it's harder, definitely, than in EU4. And when the peace treaties does just many more. You can install food, you can ask them to remove castles, and many more. Important fact, if you're conquering lands and your casus belli is to take a specific land, you can't take anything unless you take that land first. So for example, I declared war on Teutonic Order to take Gdańsk. And someone else declared on Teutonic Order and occupied Gdańsk. And because of that, I couldn't take a single province in my peace deal. And that's one thing I hated. It felt like I'm so screwed by the RNG. I just waited and that AI pissed out and I could take Gdańsk in the end. How was the AI? Okay, it will be in the video, but you see here this button, these are automations. You can automate almost everything in game. And I like that the most. Because trade at one point, if you get too big and you've got too much trade capacity, you're gonna lose your head about the amount of the goods that you have import and export. So there's a button there. Automate trade. And AI will do trade for you. And it does it pretty nicely, honestly, at least based on what I've seen. You can automate your whole trade. You can automate trade in one of the trade nodes. You can automate trade in one trade node, excluding specific trade goods that you want to keep. So there's a lot of flexibility in automating that. You can also automate building buildings, building resource gathering operations, building armies, taking advances, changing the economy sliders. Almost everything can be automated. I only tried automating trade and buildings, and this worked good. Especially later on when you have more money and you it's just too much. If you scale too much. That's also my feedback, that it's great that you have automations, but also if you want to micromanage everything and you're big in not even late game, mid game, it's really tough to handle. But I only have 50 hours, right? Another automation that I like, and I should have it a bit later. Let's see if I can show. I have to show you that, guys. That's gonna be here. So you see, you've got objectives. See all of this? It's, for example, objective: defend your home territory. It's something that you had for the fleet in EU4, right? You can assign armies to defend your territory. And what the AI is gonna do if you're stuck is gonna just run around and stack wipe all of the enemies by itself, which is great with the amount of the armies that you have and amount of the locations. Another great thing, if you have an army and you right-click on an enemy, it's not gonna go to the province on this enemy is. It's gonna start following that enemy until they catch them and kill them, unless they run away to Fog of War. Which is great also with the locations. Or I want to kill that small stack. You right-click and the army just gonna start chasing them until they catch. Another thing is, Carpet Siege actually works in that game. It actually works. It goddamn actually works. You click on Carpet Siege. I will have it already in the video. I don't know which one right now. You choose which army is gonna Carpet Siege. You choose which areas it's gonna Carpet Siege. And let's say you have 15k stack. It's gonna split into 20 different stacks and start Carpet Sieging. Like, holy... Whoa! Why you couldn't do that in EU4? It works! Show a battle. Yeah, this is gonna be just early here. Right? Yeah, that's a battle. And you see what I mentioned, that the quantity difference is huge in this game. So look at the amount of losses I'm gonna do to these guys here. Blah blah blah. Look, they've lost 7,000, 7,500, lost 1,400 because I had 6,000 advantage in the numbers. I think there's later on in the video also a battle when I use a professional army versus levies. That's gonna be here. Look. Yeah, you can decide on which flank. Okay, so this Hungarian stack of levies attacked with 8,000, my 2,800 standing army stack. And let me show you what's gonna happen to them. Yeah, that's how the bat looks like. You see there are flanks, there's backlines. See the daily losses compared to mine? That's how strong the standing army is. It's expensive as fuck. Yes, the performance is terrible. I mentioned that earlier. And look, I've lost 1,000, they've lost 7,500. With them outnumbering me so much. Yeah, the performance is the biggest thing that I'm worried about. But they did say, we will fix it. So I trust them, but not fully until I get early access before release. Performance was goddamn trash. Let me show you that again. So that's my PC. I have the most modern PC possible, except graphic card. And my CPU was dying sometimes. See my CPUs, AMD Ryzen 9 7950X. But after 2 hours of tweaking different settings on the performance, getting somewhere in the medium, turning off VSync, playing on Vulkan, it was smooth. It worked nicely, and it didn't get worse over time. So when the game was progressing, I played 200 years, it didn't get worse. So it just took me time to actually fix it initially. But I would say for people with worse PCs, it might be a problem unless they fix it. Yes, the Black Death. I think I can show you that because I showed population graph at the end of my video. Should be somewhere here. You lose about half of your population with the Black Death. I don't think I can tell you about the storage. I'm not sure. I prefer not to. I should show the population graph in a second. And even Poland. There's no protection to Black Death, which I expected you to have. One of you mentioned that in the chat. They don't have any protection from Black Death as of now. I've left my feedback and discussed that with the devs. That, hey, they should. Because part of the reasons why Kazimir the Great was the Great is because everyone around lost population and Poland stayed almost at the same level. Yeah, will I show it? No way I'm not. I'm showing that in the video, you can watch it later. But I've lost like 1.1 million pops from 2.5 million that I had at the start of the Black Death. The HRE like 300 tags, that's for sure. I didn't touch HRE much and its mechanics yet. How much time it takes to recover? Probably a few centuries. It's hard to say because I expanded a lot, right? So I recovered it by expanding. But you see, like after 100 years, my pop increase was a bit higher. It was around 1,000 a month, which means you are getting 12,000 pops a year. Then you lose some also on the wars, because if your levies die, they die. The pops also die. So 12,000 a year in 100 years, that's 1.2 million. Yeah, so over 100 years to recover with that speed, right? Because I've lost 1.1 million. Yeah, the game is super CPU intensive. Extremely CPU intensive, guys. I remember when I first turned it on, and just on the loading screen, I'm looking, my CPU is just 100% usage. Which I barely see for any game to do that with that CPU. I played Path of Exile 2 on max settings. I didn't get to that percentage. But then in the gameplay, once I, tweaked the settings, etc., my CPU was at 60% usage. So that was fine. Graphic card was 90%, but I have an old graphic card. That's on me. I have 2070. Any other questions, guys? Because I have to pick up my daughter a bit later from the... I took my daughter to nanny to stream for you guys. I think, yeah, CPU is the most important. But Paradox even told us to not hesitate to tell about the issues. So I'm very clear. But also they told us that they will work on fixing that. So I'm hoping for that to happen. Was your early game expansion slow because you were in early times of the game, or later much bigger expansion? So on the games that I've played, you don't speed up the expansion much. The fastest way to expand in Europe are personal unions. Because I don't think, because there's union policies there are 7 policies to fully annex the personal union, and each policy takes a year. You just need money. So in 7 years, you can annex your personal union. That's why I got for Halych annexed. And the thing is, the AI should decide if they want to vote for the policy or not, but they've always vote yes. So I can abuse personal unions in the current state of the game. I think Habibi annexed for Mamluks this way as the Ottomans. But expansion itself is really slow, and integrating provinces takes a lot of time, which is great, but over time it gets faster. But still, look at this. This is a good borders for first 100 years, considering that I have probably another almost 400 years of the gameplay time to increase that, and it's gonna start speeding up over time. Also, as much as I conquered here, I had that much conquered in my first playthrough with 100 more years. So it also shows, like, in this 50 hours, how much I learned the game. My first playthrough, 1550, that's my borders. Even less. My second playthrough, 1437, that's much I conquered. And with much better control than my first gameplay. Okay, so I'm not sure actually about the levies. I think the more core provinces you have and more control, the more levies. But if you're telling about the standing army, you've got buildings that train pops to become your manpower. You see, this is, you might tell it's a reserve in the modern times of army. Thank you for subscription. It's reserves. You get it from buildings that need trade goods and pops to actually work. And then this starting army is using that manpower. So you see in 1437 I already had 12,000 of manpower with 140 of manpower increase, which is, look, it's like almost a number of 1444 in EU4 as Poland. It's a bit lower. Flavor getting Silesia back. Not sure. I did get some PUCBs on some of the Bohemian minors, but that's it. And there's also a way to get a PU of Bohemia, I think. Did PU of Lithuania happen? If yes, yes, there's a Union of Krevo event. And I find a bug for it, actually, because historically, right, it was a queen from Poland marrying a king from Lithuania, right? But the event is written in the version that I played that the rulers of both nations had to be the same, how it called, god damn it, same sex. So my first playthrough, Casimir the Great died early, gender, yes. Died early, I never got the PU. My second playthrough, the Casimir the Great lived long enough to the date when the event can happen, and I got a gay marriage with Lithuania, and then we had a gay PU. But the event also works the way that children from this marriage will create the dynasty, and it's gonna make the PU an actual long-term PU. But since we were a gay marriage, we couldn't have children, so the PU just broke as soon as Casimir the Great died. But they're gonna, of course, fix it for the game. It's funny to find bugs like this. Graphic, it is much better than EU4. Actually, when I get back to EU4 after playing EU5, I barely can look at the map and UI. Plus, keep in mind I played on medium settings. This is all on medium. It's not on ultra. Woke. Yeah, gone woke by an accident. I think there was a second question from someone that asked this. In EU4 early game is fun, but the longer you play, the less fun it is. What is experience so far? I've played too little to tell you. I'm still, after even the time I've played in the game, I still had fun because with every decade, with every hour, I was learning something new. Learning a new optimal way to do something. Finding a small exploity stuff to do. So I had fun all the time I played, but it's too little to tell you if it's... Because, I tell you what, Imperator Rome, it's also a great game for first 30 hours or 50 hours, right? But the longer you play, the more you find that it lacks content. I'm not saying EU5 is like Imperator Rome, but it would be unfair to me to tell you too much about that, about EU5, after playing only 50 hours. It's just too late. I need to play more. But I've lost access today, so I'm looking forward to get access again. How do you feel about ages, advances? Okay. advances are better than I expected. I didn't like it much when I saw it first, because I don't like how it works in Victoria 3. But over time, I started finding it more fun, and in general better than I expected. The biggest thing is that there's no search bar. Because in games where you have advanced, mission trees, advances trees, bonus trees, skill trees, like Path of Exile, you have a search bar, searching for name of the advance or searching for a bonus. It's not there yet, but we left feedback, so they might add it. I think they should add it, because it's hard without it. And so what's important in advances, you can schedule them ahead of time. So you can just, I want this advance first, then this advance second, this third, this fourth. Or you just want the 7th advance in a row, you just click on that 7th advance, and it's just gonna do the path for you by itself. Does the scaling feel better than deving? Much more, yes. Seeing the pop increase is the new dopamine after the deving in EU4. And you can actually impact how fast the population increases. For example, in at the end of this campaign, my pop increase was about 1,000 a month. But then there's a same policy that for the duration of the parliament, you can increase the pop increase. I don't know how to tell it, how much pops you're getting. And it triples to 3,000 a month. And that's a visible increase, right? That's already big. Another thing, when I moved my capital to Warsaw by an event, there's event to do that. Oh, there's Black Death. Warsaw had 30,000 population. My Krakow had 130,000. So there's a cabinet action to migrate people from around to a specific location. So I increased the population of Warsaw to like 50 or 60,000 in just a year or two. This way, by just people, you go to Warsaw. How just logistic works? Okay, there are roads. They mostly impact movement speed as well, but they mostly impact proximity. So how much control we have of the provinces. And the logistics, I think they created the way that it's not too painful to manage, especially for rookie players. So I didn't care about that much. I was mainly looking the similar way to U4. Do I get attrition when I get somewhere? And there's also, let me find you maybe some word to show you that. Oh yeah. This. You see, I need a zoomed in. Oh yeah, you see next to an army sitting in a province, there's little food icon. There's telling like how much food it has left. If it's close enough to your borders, it doesn't matter. It's always full. They're gonna keep reinforcing that by themselves. If it's far away, for example, I declared on Golden Ord, when I went to the steppes, I ran out of food pretty fast and I started starving my army. Okay, guys, 2 last questions. I'm gonna finish. I gotta go pick up my daughter from nursery. Last 2 questions I'll answer. What else, guys? Population load. Yes, because there are mutant taxes modders working for Paradox. There are many more very well-known modders that are not part of Paradox Tinto, but are helping out with specific features and countries. They'll maybe reveal themselves. I can't tell who they are. That's a very good question. Does the EU5 have mission system and the national ideas like in EU4? So missions were in-game back when I tested in Sieges in the Paradox HQ, but they removed this system because they didn't like it. They are reworking the missions as we speak. There are national ideas done as advances. You see 21 here. Let me maybe show a moment where I show it. Yes, events. This is all the ideas that Poland has. Poland has 21 ideas, which are advances in game. And you can see all of their names, like there's Pacta Conventa, Late Wing Hussars, Wojsko Komputowe, Stone and Brick, Statue of Kalisz. These are national ideas. There are also idea groups, which are not at idea groups, but they work similar to idea groups. So at the start of every age, I think that's gonna be my end screen. At the start of every age, you can choose from 3 advances groups: administrative, diplomatic, and military. And this will unlock you a group of advances for that specific age. I think it's like 12 or 13 of them. So these are the new idea groups that you're having. No release date. How about the rebels from Conquest? Okay, that's a good question. That's the last question that I'm answering. I think they work less painful than I expected. I would even say they should be more painful for you. In my opinion, they're less painful than in U4, the rebels, as of now. They load slowly. It takes like 20 years for them to load, so it's really slow. They're very small, usually, in the numbers. And the rebel of nationalists, they release, when they declare war on you, they declare as a country. They release out of your terrains with their own army, and they fight you. And what's fun, they might call allies into that independence war, like ex-Bohemian land can call in Bohemia to help them out. Although it didn't really happen much to me. They usually called in some minors to help them out. If it's rebels like peasants or nobility, this hurt more, because nobility, for example, released half of my country. But with the carpet siege mechanic, it was really fast to defeat them. It wasn't that hard. What's funny, I also wanted to say something about these rebels. Yeah, sometimes the rebels, they start, like let's say the peasant rebels, and they finish their own war after a month because they see they are so much stronger, which is actually fun and makes it also less hurting. I'm actually not sure if they draw from the pop of the province, because you lose that province, right? Well, that's a good question. No idea. I've talked about the AI. Yes, you can. So there will be few things you can watch. You can rewatch what I just were asking, like your questions for 40 minutes. You can rewatch it. You can watch that video. I explained all the main mechanics here. Or in 2 days from now, I'm allowed to release one more video with no new footage. There will be no new footage on top of this one, but this will be a yapping video. So like I was yapping for the last 40 minutes, I'll be also yapping in that video. So you can just wait for this as well. But yeah, guys, I think this is it. Thank you so much for coming. I hope that you are as excited as I am about U5. Don't get too excited. We still have a long way to go to get it great, like performance. There will be mission trees. They are being reworked now. But thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe on YouTube to get notified about the content. And remember to follow on Twitch for the same reason.